Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul, right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today is Matthew, known as Matt Edmiston. We're going to be talking about how many changes he's had on his journey, evolving from an atheist in suit and tie to a flower crown wearing energy worker with class. During that journey, he learned to journal, meditate, keep track of his body, and many other skills. Those were hard changes to make, but it's funny how he did his mind, body, spirit from an atheist life lens, only to have break away when the class started opening. We'll find out what the class are in a moment. Many steps along the way, and each one broke him in different ways. Many of those to make the journey alone, and he could really see how he could have used some help along the way. Now he's sharing that light with others on their journey, so he gets the hard parts and makes it easy for them. He was in high school with his best friend's dad, stayed local for college studying engineering. When he was 20, he got a call, "Hey, Matt, I'm going to be a priest. Go and form an LLC. You'll know who the clients are and how much I was charging them." And he became an entrepreneur in a 30-minute call. He figured out engineering was not for him, but entrepreneurship was. Then during the 2008 housing crisis, bust his business wide open, and he worked as a valet doorman at the Ritz-Carlton. Very fancy. From there, he realized it wasn't a career and transformed into a commercial real estate broker with a focus on retail assets, properties such as grocery, anchored shopping centers, fast food restaurants, banks, etc. When COVID hit, that was long enough for him to self-evaluate and realize that he didn't want to work for the ultra wealthy anymore. He did odd jobs and ends while Uber and temp and everything else, while he figured out the next step. And that turned out to be taking his broker skill set changer of other behaviors and pointing them into the health personal habits, initiating change. I love it when people get a redirect. You know, sometimes it's a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Sometimes it's a cosmic 2x4. You've had a couple of cosmic 2x4s with 2008 and the COVID. But yes, however tragic it was for some, for others, it was that permission to take another path, wasn't it, Matt?
Oh, yeah. And the second time around was more permission to take another path. First time around, like, I wasn't trying to grow it into a construction business. It was, me doing the installs, mostly myself.
Having difficulty hearing you.
Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't trying to grow into a big construction business. Like, I was taking my college classes. When the workload would get a little bit big for a couple of weeks, I'd hire a couple college buddies and pay them cash and, just run it like a college business.
Right.
And so, I was still trying to figure things out when the crash hit. So I didn't mind like shifting into, hospitality.
Yeah, I mean, we live so much life by the expectation, don't we? You now have got to be this and you've got to do that, and 2.2 children, I never worked that one out, and a picket fence, and then you'll be happy, and then you'll be successful, and then people will want to know you. And it's like, take all of that, put it over there in that box as a whole load of BS, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then look at, but what makes me happy inside? Who am I really? How do I really connect? And what the hell am I doing here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's call me a glutton for punishment, but I like changes. Sometimes
Hmm.
the bumps are a little bit big.
Yes.
But I've kind of learned in retrospect that, and through all the changes, I'm always glad after the fact that they happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that that was a one lens shift in particular that really, oh, hey, wait a minute. Okay, I'm signing myself up for some bumps in the road, but I always am glad I did on the other side.
Well, a kind of rather like bumps literally in a road. There's to slow us down so we don't whiz through. And
Oh,
sometimes
sure.
those bumps are there just to kind of slow down, pay attention. Have you got it? Okay, you can go to the next bump.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't wait for the next bump, but it's just a
Bumpity
couple get
bumpity bump.
stacked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come out the other
But yeah,
side going, oh, wait, all right, I'm still in the lane and I'm not on the ditch. So, all right.
exactly. And that's the point is that realization. And I think that so many people kind of like, oh, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, and then organize everything in A, B, C's, and D's and whiz down that road. And really, no, it is about paying attention to every step, every feeling, every thought, everything around you, and
Hmm.
slow down, be present, because
Oh,
that's where
yeah,
you're going to get the information.
for sure. And COVID, that time was both time for me to reevaluate on like the commercial brokerage side.
Hmm.
Um, and also like I'm sure it's not a coincidence that that's also when my clairs really started to open up.
Hmm. Let's talk about your clairs because that's not a
Okay.
terminology many people know about. So explain that.
Okay. So clair is sort of a prefix for, clairsentience, oh, I'm drawing a blank on all the different suffixes, but whether you hear your messages through vision or hearing or feel or you just kind of know stuff. Clairvoyance is kind of the
Hmm.
broader term that a lot of people connect to. So when I say my clairs, I I mean that in the way of like, hey, I've been around a lot of energy workers,
Hmm.
especially in this chapter of life.
Hmm.
Um, and some of the gifts are stronger with me than others.
Right.
I pretty quickly figured out that, there's a lot of people who get into this, or even if they're kind of like next to it all their life, connecting with the dead,
Yes.
whether it's, your own past relatives or someone else's through readings. Um, that's a fairly common and a high percentage step for a lot of energy workers.
Yeah.
Um,
And we all
and
thought it's normal.
yeah, and for me, that's one that rarely happens.
Hmm.
I am much more a connect with the living type.
Right. That's interesting. I grew up a very sickly child, so in bed a lot on my own. And so
Mm-hmm.
in order not to go crazy, went off dimensional traveling, not knowing I was doing it. And when I was playing with my dolls, I'd be playing with another entity, and why can't somebody see them? Right. So I walked past, a graveyard and got voices like hell screaming
Mm-hmm.
at me. And I've always been in the knowingness, knowing what I needed to know for whomever I needed to know it,
Right.
without even knowing what I knew. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's been through my life. So, um, and I kind of say that I kind of worked for death for a while. So there
Okay.
was certain people that couldn't cross over, and I
Oh,
was
okay.
there to show them the door and the light. Never,
Sure.
never knowing who, just like somebody pop up, and that's what I'm meant to do. Um, until I resigned and said I want to put my energy somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, for me, I grew up that way without realizing what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And why can't others see it or do it? And why am I different? And what's so different? Um, so to come into it later in life when you awaken to it, I know part of it can be scary because, again, it's an
Mm-hmm.
unknown. And again, how is the world going to treat you? But on the
Right.
other part of it, you have a little more understanding as an adult to kind of
Oh,
really
sure.
look at what's being given to you and know what to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was a very, very, very fast switch.
Hmm.
right. So you mentioned early on in the introduction, that I was an atheist.
Right.
Um, and like I was raised in, I call it a harmless Christian household, right? So we went to church 3 times a month and holidays, and we, held hands and said a prayer before dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like 99.999% of my interaction with Christianity uh,
Right.
throughout my childhood. Like,
Yep.
it was never weaponized, hey, do your homework or you're going to
Yeah.
hell or any
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
right, it was never used as a motivator for corrective behavior.
Right.
Um, and then late teenage years, I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, hey, got to my parents, hey guys, like this isn't really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're like, oh, hey, do some study, like whatever, but like wherever you land, we'll respect. And
Yeah.
I took some distance, went, okay, hey, is there a God that went snap, Big Bang happens
Mm-hmm.
or not? I don't know. Not going to try and figure it out. Doesn't change anything. Our cell phones work, our laptops work, modern technology works. I'm going to trust the carbon dating,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and yeah, so very just he- more agnostic than atheist
Right.
to be accurate because it's very much like a hey, I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be,
I'm
you
not
know,
attached to anything.
right. And I don't
Yeah.
see like this group of like, hey, these people
Yeah.
keep praying and they keep getting the things they pray for, like, and it's a clear correlation. Like, oh, um, so just hung out there for until my early 30s. And um, yeah, had done so much mind, body, spirit work
Mm-hmm.
along the way that it came when it finally cracked.
Yes.
It was a full dam of things.
The floodgates opening
Yeah,
up, right? Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Um, and I know for a lot of people, they kind of get a bit scared and they don't want to talk about it and they want to be secretive about it. And
Hmm.
and it's kind of for me, and you especially find that of people who are more religious. And then they want to conduct spirituality the same way they conduct religion. And the thing about
Hmm.
spirituality, there is no borders. There's
Right.
a code of conduct,
Hmm.
right? But there is a freedom, just like the wind blowing behind you. It's free. It needs movement. It needs to be in flow. It doesn't need to be structured and contained and controlled.
Sure.
It's to be immersed in. And so you see an awful lot of organizations that open up spiritual churches, but they
Hmm.
conduct them the same way they do religious churches. So nobody's ever quite free.
Hmm. Yeah, and I didn't worry too much about the social aspect
Mm-hmm.
during the switch. It was sort of um along the way in the brokerage career, I reinvented myself several times, starting out as the intern,
Mm-hmm.
literally started out as an unpaid intern. And and through each time I reinvent, from intern to newbie agent to calling on deals that are bigger because I had the more experience and the ability. And each time came with a new social circle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe not so much at first, but especially like when you start graduating into higher tiers of commercial deals, like the crowd starts to get pretty thin.
Right.
Um, right? Like I'm in Orlando, which is a fairly large metropolitan area, a couple
Mm-hmm.
million people in the greater Orlando area. And, you know, the number of people doing in the retail world doing, consistent 7-figure deals, like 150 people in town. We all know each
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because there just aren't that many bigger deals to go around, and they
Right.
don't trade that often, and all that. So I was already comfortable with like, hey, wherever this leads me, where is
Mm.
my social circle going to come from? Well, it wasn't
Right.
on the radar. Plus, I had some confidence of like group forming. And all this, it's kind of funny how like my different job choices over the years play into my Claire's
Right.
or because I much more connect with the living. And as much as I was in construction at the beginning, I was in all doing all post closing, no new construction. So I was going in to meet who generally the house spouse,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and if anyone's who had installers or repairmen over, right? Beyond them like dropping things that look really bad, you don't really know if they're doing a good job or not, right?
Is it straight or not? Yeah, I've
Right.
had
But
those.
like the electrician, like he comes, he goes,
Yeah.
the thing works
Mhm.
now, but you have no idea if he did a good job behind the
Right.
scenes,
No
right?
certification and
Right.
guarantees and all that.
And same for me. And that didn't stop me from doing a good job, don't get me
Mm.
wrong. But I did realize the most important part of the day was like the first 15 minutes meeting with the homeowner, being clean, talking halfway decently with
Right.
some vocabulary, and offering yourself up for
Yeah.
questions, opening up those communication channels. And then they just left me alone all day.
Right. I get you. He knows what he's doing. Let him do his thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, so from there to working, Ritz-Carlton, that's high volume, high intimacy, right? Because you can't just like spew out like the
Hmm.
3 sentence thing on repeat at the Ritz-Carlton. No, like it is instantly like, hey, I'm their first interaction. This is the Ritz-Carlton. We are here to deliver more than just a room.
Hmm.
We are
Hmm.
here to deliver an experience, which means commute like figuring out how to get those guests to open up very, very quickly.
Right. Isn't
Um,
everybody looking for an experience? A good one?
yes,
You know,
yes.
people get stuck in the bad experience, but really what we're looking for is a good experience, like a good meal,
Mm-hmm.
good
Oh yeah,
company.
absolutely. And it's like I so often will default to like, where's the taco truck, local food truck? Because like, even if I'm by myself, I'll find some local to talk to. Like, there, it's
Yeah,
not hard.
no, no. I can go away on my own and be in a corner reading a book, and I'll end up with someone sitting next to me. That's always been that way. Um, but I think it's kind of a certain frequency that once you've accepted your clairs, I
Hmm.
mean, you accepted what role you play in them, you've resonated onto a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And there are people that kind of feel it. They don't really know what it is, maybe, or what to do with it, but they feel it and they're drawn to it
Oh
because
yeah,
they're
I mean,
needing those good vibrations.
yeah, absolutely. And like, I there wasn't even a question of coincidence even early on that, so my break into the energy work and spiritual work world was like that was 1 week.
Hmm.
Okay. So I was in this going along with life, had been ignoring my clairs,
Hmm.
right? Like, so hearing, I mentioned that hearing people, telepathy is
Hmm.
one of my strongest, probably my strongest. And it's bad enough that back when I was doing ballet and door, it happened not often enough to set my brain off,
Uh-huh.
but often enough I had a speech ready for it.
Ah,
Right.
right. Yes.
So
Mm.
uh, during that time period, there was like a TV show on one of the crime dramas where there was some lie detector guy and he would watch for like micro expressions in people's faces. And that was like he would look for the tells kind of stuff. And so I just did that explanation because I legitimately have better than 2020. And so like some random guest would pull up, they'd get out of the car, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how's the drive down from Atlanta?" Not even like thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
or knowing, and they just look at me like, "How how did you know?" And like, and sometimes it just works out that way.
Mm. At the same time, it can scare people completely. Bejeebies,
Oh
is he
yeah.
watching us? Is he this? Is that? Everybody gets steps into paranoia. And, kind of there are times that people want you to hear them, but they don't know how to articulate it. So you
Hmm.
hear them and you respond in that opening up that door. That's great. I mean, if you've got some people that you say something and then it's like, are you watching me? Are you stalking me? Are you doing this and that?
Yeah, no, and it wasn't even ever that vibe. I never got that vibe from guest when it came
Right.
off. It was just like utter surprise and
Yeah.
shock. Like, hey, wait a minute. I don't care how well you stalked me. How did you know that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, what people need to understand is that we have limited ourselves so much as human beings, like
Oh,
really
sure.
limited ourselves and the what we believe in, who we are, why we are, what we are capable of doing. And,
Mm,
we really became far too much humanoid without human being. And we are, divine beings having a human experience, but we
mm-hmm.
got caught up in the human side of it and forgot to integrate the being side of it.
Right.
And when we open up to the being, there's such clarity there, such truth that it is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like a deep breath. I'm clear on that. The knowingness, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
clear on that. It's when the human aspect comes into it. Yes, but, or, and how do we marry the two together where we are truly listening to our being voice and
Mm-hmm.
can hear it in a way that we could be productive with it on our human side?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the areas, like, and maybe it's just because of my wiring, but I see it in other people I work with where when people work on their communication skills, just
Mhm.
their like mundane, and when I say mundane, I don't mean boring. I just mean not
Right,
magical, right?
right.
Just they're using their voice and their ears to communicate those skills. Um, when they start working on intimacy
Mm,
in their communication, that drives their energy work, their magical, their clair, whatever you want to call it. It without almost without fail, that those have a high correlation.
hmm.
Um, and I find the best explanation I've come up for that so far is like for the bigger magic to fire off, you have to care,
Yes,
right? And it's hard to
yes,
care if there isn't another human in the picture.
right. Yeah, care and aware. Absolutely. And for a lot of people, you use the word intimacy, just like the beautiful word sensuality. For me,
Hmm.
sensuality is you are in tune with your senses, right?
Hmm.
And you are feeling everything. And I've always kind of let off that sensuality, which is being misconstrued as sexuality. And when you talk
Right.
about intimacy, where we're talking about honesty and openness and vulnerability, it immediately, if
Hmm.
intimacy goes to sex with people,
Yeah.
because so how do we get them to actually understand there is a different definition with these words?
Yeah. I one of my favorite tools for that is arming them with dangerous questions.
Mm,
Okay.
like.
So, like, what is something about you that you wish more people knew about?
Mm. Do you find people find that really hard to answer?
Yes. And it's it's two things. One, they haven't done enough homework to know themselves to know where the cool parts
Right.
are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's like, hey, everyone who knows me knows that I enjoy getting out in nature and with music and just having fun with other people, right? I still wish more people knew that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that more people could come have fun with us, right?
Right.
Like, so it's a easy thing for me to identify to the want more people to know. But yeah, the other thing is it tends to trip up that question starts to go in a lot of directions,
Yes.
right? So it's hey, it starts out okay, what would I want a casual friend to know about me that they don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it isn't like black and white, like oh,
Mm-hmm.
I paint and I need to tell my friend they paint that I paint. No, no, no. It's more like they know that you paint, but they don't know 5% of what makes you passionate about your painting or something
Why
within
you paint?
right
Yeah.
or right, and those aren't either they know or they don't, it's how much do they know, right?
How much are we revealing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that question, okay, so you start to play with it with casual friends, and then you start to apply it to the people closer in your life. And then it starts to circle back. It's like, okay, well, if I would tell this partner in my life, why wouldn't I tell this friend?
Mm.
Right. And so that kind of loop starts going back and forth. And then it's all getting bounced off of there's no one to blame for them not knowing but me.
True.
Right. So
And
then it, oh, go ahead.
but but I've revealed myself in truth and honesty.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a negative reaction to that,
Mm-hmm.
right, a or judgment to that, then obviously they're not seeing me, right? They're
Right.
seeing an aspect of me of what they want, or if they wish to leave me because of
Hmm.
that judgment and not willing to understand, then it's become a closed door that was needed to be closed.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's with some time, it took me some time at first. And I still have like carry a lot of that, but it's also mixed with, hey, if they are being defensive and closing the door to nonviolent, safe,
Yeah,
just me being weird,
right,
so to speak,
exactly.
right? Then that's a product of them never having someone safe enough in their life to express their
Right.
own business,
And
right?
we
So
can,
then it's like,
either try and make it comfortable for them, but
right.
basically maybe it's their journey to take. And we can't
Hmm.
dictate where somebody should be on their journey. We just have to support them at where they're at and
Yeah.
encourage them to move forward, but support them where they're at. Because it's can be very, very confusing for people who
Oh
are
yeah.
beginning to feel a certain way, see things, hear things, know things in a
Hmm.
world that is so quick to ridicule, judge, and castrate. So
Yes.
sorry was the word that came to mind. But it's that judgment of so people, humans are so quick to judge, so quick to
Hmm.
dismiss something they don't understand, so therefore must be bad. Instead
Right.
of inquiring of why do you feel this way and getting to know why somebody is they like what they do or who they are, and then it
Hmm.
may be revealing something within themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what we really want. We want that inspiration to beget the invitation,
Hmm.
and start going down their own journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. And the that kind of leads into one of my other, you know, dangerous questions. I have
Hmm.
lots, but it leads into one of the good ones. Um and actually anyone watching or listening to this, I'd encourage you to just, you know,
Answer
pause,
it.
pause and soak on it a bit, right? And it's a two-part question. So the first one is thinking back through and identifying an area that you we can call it unlearned something from your parents. Right. So something that your parents taught you that you went out, you grew up, you had life experience, and you adopted a contrary or at least different lens. Doesn't have to be
Hmm.
180, but significantly different. Okay. So, hey, we're tiptoeing into dangerous territory. We're at least at the threshold, right? So, part two is where it starts to get really dangerous. And it is, hey, what is an area of your life that could maybe use some retrospection to find another thing that you need to unlearn, right? Because the odds of you needing to unlearn zero more things is pretty low,
Very,
right?
very, very impossible. There's always
Yeah.
something to learn. Yeah.
So if you want, take a pause, listeners, and chew on that for a bit.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I got to answer that question. So I grew up in England at boarding school.
Hmm.
And, my dad died when I was young. And there was always this expectation because I was a sickly child and not academic that I wouldn't become anything. Hope she just makes a good marriage.
Right.
And instead, my mum and I moved to South Africa, and the wild child was born. The complete free spirit, South Africa's first go-go dancer, a
Uh-huh.
model, left school at 16, and just like experienced life completely, totally in my tingles and tangles of,
Hmm.
everything. But I think the second part, I think actually danger is the wrong word. I think the inquisitiveness, the desire to know what
Yeah.
else.
Hmm.
Because, I think it sparks something. The first one sparks of, okay, what else?
Yeah.
What other pattern in my life do I need to look at or that I need to get rid of, or I have got rid of and wasn't aware of?
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's how we grow, when we're willing to deprogram
Yeah.
and break the pattern and step into something without fear. Because I don't think it's dangerous. I think it's wonderment.
Oh, yes. And I think a little bit of fear is good,
Oh
right?
yes.
I think having a relationship with fear is good.
Yeah, a
Uh,
common sense fear. The fear
yeah.
that keeps you safe, not the fear that paralyzes you. Yeah.
Well, and yeah, and the trick being just finding the balance,
Uh-huh.
right? Because if you're not a little bit afraid of it, it's not a big enough step to grow.
Mm-hmm. And where does that fear come from? Is it a fear of what will people think? Is it a fear that you'll lose your own identity? Did you have one anyway, or was it imposed upon you?
Right.
What is the fear? Identify the fear. Because when we come face to face with fear and we understand it's actually something that's external, the internal, instead of fear, wonderment, right? Common sense fear with you, but wonderment, external, the fear of everybody saying you'll never do it, you'll never make it, you'll never this, you'll never that. I'm just going, screw it, I'm going to try anyway, right?
Yeah.
Facing the fear. I think that's always been me. I've no idea if I can do this or that. Let's give it a try. I
Mm-hmm.
BS myself into so many jobs to find out I could or I couldn't.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I entrepreneur in 30-minute phone call, like that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
one of
exactly.
the early ones.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right, we're gonna find out real fast if I can make it. As more
exactly.
than a
And how
participant.
do you know unless you try? And
Yeah.
for me, failure isn't, you fell on your backside and it didn't work. Failure
Mhm.
is the refusing to get up and try something else.
Yeah, and I think one of the perspectives I picked up along the way that really helped me with that particular thing is I forget where it was, and I've tried for years to find it, and I can't find it anymore. But there was a TED talk or something, and it talked about how the vast majority of time in life we figure out what we do like
Mm,
through things we don't,
exactly,
right? Because
exactly.
when we try new things, most of the time we're gonna fail at them. We're gonna suck at
Hmm.
the beginning, right?
Hmm.
But it teaches us things about ourselves along the way. And right, so those things that we do find are through the failures. So it's,
The willingness to
hey,
learn.
right. So now it's much more, hey, what failure can set up
Hmm.
for this? And it isn't changes the metric of like pass fail as long as my metric for it being a success is not succeeding at the task.
Mm,
It's like succeeding about learning from myself about the experience.
exactly. Traveling with yourself,
Hmm.
right? Not having yourself go ahead or be behind, but traveling with yourself by being present. Of how do you feel through this? Even the frustrating and the difficult times. Like every single business or every single person has something they don't like to do.
Oh
And
yeah.
mine is fixing my website, of
Okay.
troubleshooting stuff that should work that isn't working and that's driving me crazy because it's not my forte, right? But when I get it done, the
Hmm.
triumph of, oh, look, Sarah, you persisted. You may have sworn a lot, but you persisted. You got
Uh-huh.
it done. You did it, right? And I think that's the thing, is we can't have the exuberance without the frustration.
Yes, absolutely.
So why are we so afraid of it?
Well, we're
Conditioned.
a lot of it's yeah, social conditioning because
Yeah.
it's sort of, hey, there's a threshold and you're supposed to just meet it all the time.
Hmm.
And that's just not how humans work. So, right, in order to correct for that or make sure that it stays at, you know, at an acceptable level all the time, it just chops off so many of the peaks.
Exactly. When you do embrace your clairs, or
Hmm.
whatever gift that you're given, we discover that this is the gift. This is the instrument that meant to learn to play so I can bring it to the orchestra of life. And it's that there are other gifts out there and that you might be able to dabble in them, but that's somebody else's strength, not ours, like anything
Hmm.
in life. And we find out what our gift is. And it really is a question of trusting the divine to show us the way. In other words, get out of the way, listen to the wisdom, Let it
Hmm.
resonate with the heart. Let it give it to your action for your mind to know what it needs to know, when it needs to know it in clarity. Right? That requires you surrendering and allowing.
Hmm.
That is really what clairvoyancy, spirituality, and everything is about, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And surrendering to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It would be my tweak to it,
Mm-hmm. The
right?
relationship with
It is,
self, relationship with what the gift is.
yeah. And having that ebb and flow and back and forth. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to have bad days and good days, and you're going to have bad days and good days.
And what we don't want is the extremes. A lot of
Hmm.
people are chasing the highs and then they have extreme lows. We're not talking about things being in balance where it never stays. It's about the ebb and flow, like our DNA, like, the blood in our body, like oxygen, like wind. It doesn't just go in a straight linear line. And it's
Yep.
just, going with the flow and stop
Hmm.
resisting the flow because when you go with it, things are so much easier, aren't they?
At times, some of some of those bumps were pretty significant.
But were you in flow over the bumps? In other words, they help lift you up over the bumps so you didn't feel them quite so hard.
In different ways, yes.
Hmm.
Like it's more like, hey, the parts of my life that were bumpy at the time were still just as bumpy. And in some ways, because, you know, my ability to just, or, any energy worker, like just coming to the, hey, let's just be real about the situation kind of thing. Like,
Hmm.
so I had a lot of self-awareness, clarity about how crappy some places were.
Yeah,
Um, but also, yeah, like you said, there was a lot of background comfort and stability of just
yeah.
like, hey, this is this chapter. We're gonna get through it, and I'll figure out. Like, I'm sure it'll be super clear in a year or two what I'm supposed to be learning. But for today, let's just get to 7 o'clock.
Oh, right. Yes. I mean, those are the bumpy days. And it's like you're not meant to be receiving clarity all the time. It doesn't work like that. Um, and also, we have to wait for the synchronicity with the universe,
Hmm.
with the wisdom, with the knowledge to come in to bring us the right people at the right time in the right situation. Everything is about that alignment. But I think it's people get misunderstood that once you've stepped into that clarity, God, universe, source, spirit, energy, whatever anybody wants to say, and once you've opened up your gift, that everything is going to be harmonious for the rest of your life. We're still living as a human. And the
Yeah.
human has many, many bumps and many obstacles and many things happening, like grandchildren giving you things left, right, and center, next virus, next virus, next virus. So, these things do happen. But I think what it does, it helps us weather the storm so much
Hmm.
easier because we know we will get through it, however irritating those bumps are at the present moment.
Yeah, for sure. And just like the doing the mind, body, spirit work, right? So whether it's having the exercise habits, you know, uh, to keep the steam from, turning into a powder keg,
Yeah.
right? Or the diet habits to make sure that stuff, stays on track and healthy. And, the journaling habits to make sure I'm taking that self-reflection time and slowing down from, for me, that's more of an analytical side of things, but it's okay. I have different habits for the intuition side of listening.
Yes. And it's to know what they are. The only way you're going to know what all of these things that works for you is you
Hmm.
being present with each one of them. How do you feel in this? Do you feel you need it? Do you feel this is a struggle? Is this something you need to do differently? It's being present and really looking at the situation. And if that particular pattern repeats itself all the time, it's a pattern that needs to be erased. But if it's something, hey, I'm getting the hang of this, I'm getting, how this is helping me, then it
Hmm.
was worth the struggle in the beginning. But it is a journey of discovery. It is a
Oh yeah.
journey of knowing what works, what doesn't, and what works when. And there's no one size fits all. For some
No.
people, a walk in nature, talking to trees, riding their bike, doing yoga, whatever makes you present with yourself, that's what you need to find. and not being afraid to be present with yourself or present with others.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think the present with others is one of the biggest things that's a
Mm-hmm.
challenge, right? It's being present with yourself is much easier in the sense of like, hey, well, okay, I found this like not so great corner of myself, but I don't have to show anybody, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah. How
Uh,
did you find kind of going from the world that you were in to now the Claire world and being able to hear people's thoughts and do what you do and guide people on this journey? How did you find other people accepting the change in you?
not
Yes, yes.
for the like
Hmm.
the vast majority, not. Um, and it really, let's just say, like, especially in the brokerage money financial
Mm.
world, it,
Oil
you
and
know,
water.
you're right. They weren't. I didn't even make an effort, right?
No,
I dropped enough hints. They didn't pick any of them up. That's fine. I can
right.
let them go. With family, mixed bag there.
Hmm.
Some on the denial side of the spectrum, and then my mom, who wants nothing to do with it, but very much believes,
Mm.
right? Because when I like
Hmm.
finally worked up the courage to talk to her about it, she's like, "Oh yeah, your grandma had that like a
Yeah,
lot," and I'm
yes.
like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
worried about you gonna, worried,
yeah,
go into a rant about my mental health, and you're telling me it just runs in the family. Where was this information decades
right.
ago?
But the point is she accepted it from her mother. So she has to accept it from her son if she accepted it from her mother, but didn't want to participate for herself.
Yeah, but like also doesn't want to be around it,
Mm, right.
right? And I just exude.
Right, and that's the thing, we can't help the energies there. My mother was very clairvoyant, very fey, as we put it. My
Hmm.
grandmother was. My father very intuitive. Um, but I mean, as I said, I was born this way, and so kind of my mother understood, didn't understand necessarily everything that was going on, but knew me to be different. And she
Right.
and I could, hang out, go on holiday, do things together. I remember once carting her to a school fair to do readings because both of us were
Mm,
gypsy readers. And
right.
like the school had closed down and we still have a lineup. So, um, and she and I would do that type of thing together. My brother
Yeah.
is incredibly intuitive and spiritual when in his books, when he writes.
Okay.
In real life, he's Mukau. No,
Yeah.
you're going to become the 51st state. No, the world's going to blow up. He's
Yeah.
entirely Mukau. And my sister, who has a different dad to me, um, she just has no understanding of what I do. I'm just a do-gooder communist.
Okay.
So, the extremes. But for me, it was I'll meet you where you're at. Like with my sister, we have one channel. As long as we stay in
Hmm.
that channel, we're fine. I don't want to
Yeah.
go into your channel. You can't come into mine. We'll stay in that channel. With my
Hmm.
brother and I, it's not necessarily the deep talk of spirituality, but he knows how I operate and what I do, and
Right.
he won't talk about it, but it's in his books. So it's an
Okay.
unspoken thing, but we're very at
Hmm.
ease with each other. And of course, my mum has passed now, but it
Hmm.
was for me growing up. It was always people needing to be around me for what I could do for them,
Hmm.
right? What I had to say, what I had to do, how I can, that advice that I knew that I didn't know I knew, at the
Right.
right time, and then denying that
Yeah.
I'd given them any of that or not wanting to have any association with me.
Hmm.
So it is a lonely place unless you find your vibe tribe.
Oh yeah. Like there's definitely been some lonely chapters
Mm.
along the way in this, and yeah, I mean now's one of them for that too, and that's okay. But very comfortable in it in the sense of like I know that the connections that are coming are totally worth it.
Yeah. And my best friend is not of this world whatsoever, but she's my biggest cheerleader, even though she's
Hmm.
not quite sure what she's cheering on. Right? And I've got, I work with some people in the community. But I've learned I used to be resentful of the loneliness. And then I realized
Hmm.
that was my choice to be lonely in it. And when
Mm.
I did it, I choose to be alone with self.
Right.
It's a totally different view on things. I'm not lonely anymore. I've got my own company. When I
Hmm.
was looking to have other people get me in a, vibe tribe with me, that was lonely because they just weren't, we weren't traveling, or the magnetism would be drawn but couldn't be sustained. Well,
Right.
I can sustain it with me. I'm with me
Hmm.
24/7. So I'm no longer lonely, right? I like being alone. And I think it's kind of getting to that stage, right, of what really is loneliness.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's very much like how you are handling the situation,
Yeah.
right? Because people can be around and you're still lonely or
Oh
not
my
lonely.
God. Written
But
many article on that. Yes.
regardless of whether, like, you can be over in the corner not talking to anyone and still be
Yeah.
alone
Oh,
or
yeah. You could
not.
be talking to people and feel alone because you
Yeah.
feel that if the words are just missing each other, not resonating at all. And I think
Well,
that's worse, being lonely in a relationship or lonely in company that you're just talking at each other, not with each other.
yeah, and that's a lack of intimacy in the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's hard to get bored with an intimate conversation.
Oh God, yes. No, because it just sparks one and one thing, one thing,
Yes.
one thing, and it's like 8 hours later.
Uh-huh.
Very easy to do when you've got that right energy around you and it's not thought, it's felt conversation, not
Mm-hmm.
thought conversation.
Yep. Yep. And there's definitely times where time warp kicks in heavy on those, and it's like, how did that conversation only take 45 minutes?
Yes,
Because that was 3 hours worth of talking, and sometimes it's the other way around. It's like
right.
we didn't talk about hardly anything, and that took 2 hours. Wait a minute, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
A lot of what we call subliminal conversation, heart and soul speaking to each other. And it's the
Hmm.
same kind of relationship. I remember going down an avenue of trees with my dog one day, and they were rustling away like crazy. And the wind really wasn't that high. And
Hmm.
I would say to him, "You stop all talking at once. I can't hear you." Every leaf stopped. Every tree stopped. I
Hmm.
said, "Okay, now speak one at a time." And a lot of people think, "Oh, luli, luli." No, do you understand
Hmm.
that from one tree to the next, and you're out in a lovely green patch there with trees all around you, every single one of those trees has a web connection where
Oh
they
yeah.
connect to each other. They don't care what kind of tree they are, young or old. You are life force, and they're going to support each other. A forest supports each other. That's how it
Hmm.
stands so tall. When you
Oh yeah.
fall, it creates life out of your fall. And we as human beings have forgotten how to have that connection. And that connection is at that higher frequency and that higher vibration. And when you're resonating on that vibration, your
Hmm.
vibes can be talking to each other and your heads aren't doing anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of my favorite, like, just homework to give on that, especially for people who don't do it a lot, is, hey, grab a partner and just look into each other's eyes for 15 minutes. Set a
Don't
timer,
say a word.
don't say a word, and just, if you can handle it a couple times a week, but at least once a week, just sit down and just start doing it and then see what happens. Just knowing full well that, like, all kinds of stuff will start
You're both
popping.
present with each other in that moment. Nothing else matters. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You'd be amazed at how much dialogue is solely consumed there completely.
Oh yeah.
And you talked about journaling. I'm not a
Hmm.
journaler in sense that I do a podcast every week, so whatever
Right.
my topic is that comes out that way. But what I have been doing, because I said to someone I'm 71, they said, "Do you realize that's 7 decades?" And 7 decades sounds so much more than 71. So I
Hmm.
decided to do a podcast in each decade. I've written my book a few years ago, but this was just a kind of what comes to mind in that decade. And uh,
Okay.
and I encourage people to do something like this as a reflection on your past, to
Hmm.
see where you are in your present, and just how strong and awesome you are in moving forward. But I think
Yeah.
reflection is so good. So when you're journaling, it doesn't always have to be about, I felt like this today. It's a revisiting of a memory, or looking at like something you faced last month and look where you are
Mhm.
this month. And I think reflection is good.
Oh yeah, and I use it both to reflect on the past and
Hmm.
to look into the future.
Yeah.
And especially in the sense of like, hey, I'm having some kind of emotion about this thing coming up. All right, what are the dangers? What are the potential outcomes? What are the right? And not like full-blown SWOT analysis,
Right.
right? But just sort of some space to one of the things about journaling I've found is, whether if we're talking to someone else, obviously that's communication with the rest of the world.
Hmm.
Um, or, we're on our digital device, that's inherently a communication device, right? If we're typing into it for some reason, it's for somebody to see it.
Hmm.
Even if we're just watching YouTube on our phone, we're still receiving communication, right? So that
Hmm.
still has the communication
Yeah.
channel open. But switching to like pen and paper, the brain goes, all right, when I'm done with this, I can light this piece of paper on fire if I want. And no one's
Right.
ever, ever, ever going to see it or judge me on it
Yes.
or give me crap about it. Right. And so I find that to be in the journal, I find some of the deeper revelations that I wouldn't have outside of that.
Right.
Because it just opens that, hey, this is between you and the piece of paper. That's it. So go for it.
I have such terrible writing because I'm dyslexic that I can't read what I've written. But, sometimes this doesn't matter. Just write it
Uh,
down anyway,
I
right?
don't. I just have such horrible handwriting that I can't. I
Right.
can
Yeah.
barely make out half
I
of what I
can't
wrote.
make out a thing I've written. And it's, but then that's okay. It is kind of
Yeah.
you're spending the emotion. You
Hmm.
can set fire to it and let it go, especially if it was a bad emotion, or you can hold on to it, review it later. But yeah, I
Well,
do
and you
agree.
can use it in a positive way to,
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
positive things in there and light it on fire and set it off to the Like it
Yes,
works that way
this is
too.
how I want to feel.
Yeah.
Because the universe, it isn't about, I want a Maserati. No, it's not about that. I know there's no
Hmm.
Amazon delivery from the universe. You've got to tell the universe how you want to feel, and it will match something to you that's going to make you feel that way. But be
Hmm.
very articulate on how you ask the universe, right? So
Yeah.
don't send out mixed messages. Be very clear. Hmm. The clients that you work with now, in what way do you work with them and how do you help them?
Oh yeah. So even as a energy worker spiritualist, I still refer to it as the TED Talk list.
Hmm.
Okay. And so that's the categories of homework that every client gets no matter what. Right? So journaling, meditation, exercise, eating your veggies, uh, working on challenging your ego, like figuring out what specific things you can do that are going to test your ego and
Right.
go do those things. Um, Making art, you know, um, I find so many people don't know what they like to do.
So try a
And
number of things.
right. So whether it's paint or, because a lot of times when I say to a client, at the beginning, art, they think, oh, okay, painting or drawing. And I'm like, woodworking,
Hmm.
uh, writing code can be art for sure.
Hmm.
Uh, Welding, 3D
Dressmaking.
printing, dressmaking,
Yeah.
yeah,
What
textile, you
hands on.
know, absolutely. Just tying some sticks together with wool in the backyard,
Right.
right? It's all art. Um, and yeah, so just going through all of that. And there's some of those are very much everyday type changes, right? So like, hey, if they have a problem with their sleep patterns, what their diet patterns are, all that kind of stuff. that's more attentive. But more of like the journaling, meditation, those kinds of things. Um, it's very much about introducing it in a slow start in a way that they can appreciate it.
Absorb. Hmm.
Right. So a lot of people, if they think about starting a meditation habit, they kind of lean into all right, I'm going to do 30 minutes a day, seven
Yeah.
days a week, and get to 23 days or whatever the magic number is. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's, hey, week one, Thursday afternoon, lunch, you have an hour to yourself. Here's a 6-minute guided breathing meditation.
Hmm.
Just do it at lunch, right after you eat, before you get back to your day. Try it out.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, that's week one. Right. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, well, if that's week one, and then week two is the same thing again, and then week three is twice in a week at random times, and then week four is the same, like over time, you can see how in 3 to 6 months, like that builds a really strong habit at an approachable rate. More importantly, what it does is that at the beginning, when you're new to it, you can try meditating in the backyard and in the kitchen and in the office and in the morning and evening and mid afternoon and on the weekends and in a park and in a car locked in the garage where no one can bother you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But when you approach it that way, all of a sudden, now the brain isn't thinking, how do I get through this 30 minutes and tomorrow's 30 minutes and the next day's 30 minutes,
Right.
right? That's survival mentality. Instead, it's, hey, how is meditating in the car going to be different? You sit there and you do your thing. It's like, oh, okay, that's how I. So there's a curiosity, new information, valuable information feedback loop, right? So it's not how do I survive and get through this? It's, hey, where do I
Right.
find the value in it? And over a couple of weeks, you find something that clicks. And then I
Yes.
get the client call or the text, Matt, I meditated on my own,
Right.
right? Because the right moment came up and they had remembered that, oh, in that kind of state, I could really use a meditation on the back porch on a Saturday morning or whatever it is that they figured out.
It's changing the pattern by I feel good at this. Next time I do it, I feel good. Next time I do it,
Mhm.
feel good. And so the patterning is getting, well, she feels good this way. Instead of like trying to erase the pattern and insert a new pattern, and the other pattern's trying to come back and have full attention.
Yes.
It's that slow integration where the mind goes, oh, I actually like this. Ice cream. Let's
Mhm.
go and do that. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's the slow integration that
Hmm.
I then turn around and throw gasoline on. Okay.
Right.
So the standard process with the client is they'll get a little tracking sheet. Okay. So it's a shared Excel or Google spreadsheet.
Hmm.
And across the top, it has the dates. And when you brush your teeth at night, you answer those dangerous questions. How many minutes did I journal today? How many cups of veggies did I eat? How many minutes did I meditate? Right. So we're going to deconstruct some perfectionism because you're not supposed to be journaling every day at the beginning or,
Hmm.
you know, meditating every day. There's supposed to be zeros, right? So we're training the brain. Zeros are okay.
Yeah.
It's balance. Um, and
And not
then,
expectation or dictation. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And we use that sheet to do our weekly follow up. Sit down 2 hours at the beginning most of the time, working its way down over time. Um, but we're going through so many different habits. How's
Yeah.
gardening going? How's meditation,
Mm.
journaling? Where's the relationship stuff, extrovert? Like, there's a lot of different
What is
stuff.
it brought up? What is it revealed? And all of that. Yeah. Disclosure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot of hard stuff. And I understand human beings' tendency, right? So if it was just the weekly follow up, right? So we have the follow up meeting, you have a great afternoon, you go jump on the list, then the next day hits,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, all right, I don't have to report in for 6 days. Nope, we've erased that pattern because 5 days a week, every client gets a 10 to 15-minute check-in call in the morning.
Mm.
Hey, I saw I saw you missed your numbers last night while you were brushing your teeth. Take first 60 seconds of this call, put them in real quick. Okay, so now that that's done, how was the day? What can we learn from it? What are we learning from, like, hey, such and such life came up, busy, didn't get to doing this thing, right? okay, well, now it's been 2 weeks of not getting to it.
Yes.
Time is not an excuse anymore. But we have our tracking sheet, so we have the data. And then, yeah, those daily check-ins. Hey, here's what we're learning. How can we apply it to today?
Yeah.
Right? So it does a couple things. One, the tracking sheets like keeping
Yeah.
you from, getting too far off the rails in a bad way. And the daily check-ins are like, okay, I just have to focus on today. What can I do about today? Do I need to swap tasks based on how my batteries are? Do I need to add things to the schedule and like get ahead because I'm like really feeling my juice today? Or do we need to back off because it's looking like a migraine day or whatever it
Right.
is? Yeah, so now all of a sudden you have a tracking sheet that's looking at the bigger picture and the weekly sit downs that are looking at the picture and the daily, like, hey, there's someone in your ear that is encouraging you. Hey, it does it's fine that you didn't do that yesterday. Not a big deal. Is it worth trying to fit in today?
Yeah.
No, it's too busy. Okay, that's fine. I'm not worried because I'm looking at the tracking sheet going, you're already doing 3 times what you were when we started this. So like, and it's fun
It's
to remind
integrating
clients.
it slowly that it becomes as common as brushing your teeth, or feeling I need to do this because it's part of my day. It's part of of what makes me feel good or centered, because we want people to go and being centered. And so if they
Yeah,
get to do it something every day and they keep track of it, it's like, okay, yeah, I had 3 or 4 days bad in a row. Why?
yeah,
What can I change about that I don't keep having these bad days? But if you don't keep track
it,
of it,
it,
we
o-
dismiss it.
it only took you 15 minutes to pick up on it. The what can I change about it?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm always trying to inspire my
Yeah.
clients. Right? I'm helping them see at the beginning long enough for them to snowball themselves down the rest of the mountain.
Right. I'm a firm believer of kind of, our good vibrations and like what we say to ourselves. And, like
Hmm.
very often when we have a bad day, we kind of criticize ourselves. Like yesterday, I had a bad day, little viruses from little boys. So yesterday was a write-off for me. But I managed to change my sheets and do some laundry. Yay! Did I do
Yeah.
my floors and everything else that I was going to do? No. Am I going to beat myself up about it? I'll get to it when I have time. And I
Well, I
think
mean, was it like gunpowder on the floor that
no,
house? Well,
exactly,
there we go.
exactly. And I think that's kind of we've got so into this doctrine. It's got to be, it's got to be, it's got to be. And if you keep having these bad days, it's a question of what do you need to let go of
Yeah.
that you don't keep having. But if you're aware, you can do something about it. But most people just keep repeating because they're unaware and they're not keeping track.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a very common client experience
Hmm.
of like, Matt, oh my gosh, like there's so much going on, but I can handle it all,
Right.
right? Because it's just today is like, oh, today's journaling and sit down and draw for 12 minutes, right? That's all I got to get in today.
Yeah.
And it's manageable. And
It's
then,
taking time for yourself before the next thing demands time from you.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like, there's definitely times in the day where like, no, we don't got a choice. It's just going to be 6 things in a row that demand my time.
Hmm.
Um, just making sure that they also honor themselves
Yeah.
enough
I think,
to take those.
if we want people to be awakened and to raise up to that higher frequency, ignite their heart and soul, they need to be present with self. They need to know how to center self, to hear themselves, to really
Yeah.
feel. And we need to get out of that expectation rut,
Hmm.
dictation, society dictation rut. Well, it has to be done this way. No, there are so many people that are highly successful that do less but achieve more because they've
Oh yeah.
learned to manage their time, and that the more fortified they are within themselves,
Hmm.
the more they can exude out, right? And we
Yes.
don't, well, half the time we're working on depletion. And so
Hmm.
if you are getting those repetitive days, it's like, well, something has been done wrong here, because you'd be so much more productive if you were more fortified with your energy. What can
Yeah.
we change?
What can we change? It's one of my favorite questions for
Yeah.
sure.
And that's not a dangerous question. It is a real serious, honest question. The universe 8 or so years ago gave me a saying. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to shake you up, to wake you up, for you to step up and change it up and grow up vibrationally, but also as a human race, grow up.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think everybody's been shaken up, and many people had heard that. They've already stepped up and changed it up. And there's still
Mm-hmm.
some people that are still being shaken up. And it's like, why do I keep getting shaken up? Because you're meant to wake up and step up. All right.
Yeah.
That was what the shake up is about. So if things keep shaking you up, man, wake up. It's time to
Mm,
step up and change it. But you can assist them. You can give them all the the skills and the tools. But if they don't apply, it ain't going to work. My motto is with my shows: listen, learn, and apply.
yeah, and that's where, hey, like, the foundation of what I do is pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, put the numbers in a spreadsheet and talk to somebody about it, right?
Right.
Like, but we also all know that, like, hey, I can go form that. I heard what Matt did with that spreadsheet, and I can go make that spreadsheet, and it's going to collect dust, and it's not going to do
Yeah.
anything.
It's the
And
accountability that you need in the beginning until it becomes something that you need to do, you want to do,
yeah, I want to do,
want
right?
to do.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm just there to like point you towards figuring out where you like it.
Right. And to getting it to a point where I feel basically what you're saying to them is your accountability. And by putting in the spreadsheet every day is, have I made time for myself?
Hmm.
Or is this 0, 0? And where's my accountability on that? Because every day there should be time for myself, right? And so
Oh,
it's setting
absolutely.
up that accountability because again, you can remind them, you can prod them, but they've
Hmm.
got to walk the walk.
Right. And so I just sort of learned like, hey, when they're not wanting to walk the walk, because it's a lot of steps, hold their hand.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean email and text or whatever, because they can ignore that,
Yes.
right? But when you give them your energy and your
Mm-hmm.
attention
Mm-hmm.
and they can come to expect being able to go, hey, Matt, that was hard for me. I didn't do it or I failed at it. And they don't feel judged for whatever. It gives them the room to like go try again.
Yeah. Was that just a bump in the road, or is it something the cosmos is trying to tell you something? Pause for a moment, reflect,
Yeah.
right? I mean, when do we give ourselves enough time for reflection? And to look at what is the universe trying to say to us?
Mm-hmm.
What direction are we meant to go in? How are we meant to change? Well, if you're too busy rushing towards something or ignoring it, you ain't
Right.
going to get the message. So,
Yep. And I was ignoring for a long time. I
mm-hmm.
mean, especially about my own gifts because
Yeah,
it was firing off. I was having to come up with excuses for it.
yes, yes. And that was kind of the fear of what you know repercussions would be, and that when you truly and utterly accept who you are for what you are, it is such a relief. I'm
Oh,
known as wacky Sarah. That's fine. If
yeah.
that's it's I, as Popeye says, I am who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
no apology. I don't need to apologize for being this heart and soul, this
Yeah.
kind of spirit. And if you're uncomfortable with it, you don't need to be around it. And if you are, I'm happy to share my exuberance. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really the bottom line of it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Just getting out there and exuding your energy.
And those even that walk by, oh, what just happened? Or don't even know something's just happened. They've just, how it can change, shift somebody's energy just by being around good energy. This is, I think, kind of positive words, a lot of color in your life, a lot of joy in your life. We talked about this before. Uh, you know, what is your joy? And so many people don't know how to answer that. And if you
Yeah.
don't, then there is a problem.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because it should be like, all right, I'm narrowing down the list and to
Mm,
figure out what to talk about first, not how
yeah,
do I come up with something for the list.
exactly. Like, how many joys can I talk about rather than joy?
Yes.
And I have
How-
found, for the years of doing podcasting, of how many people literally forgot their joy. Didn't even, it wasn't even their vocabulary.
Mhm.
Everything was the expectation. And until Cosmic 2 by 4 came along and
Yes.
redirected them, and now they're living joyously, I bet that they had to have that shake up. All those bumps in the road. And whichever way it comes to you, fine. We just don't
Mhm.
want a hurricane. We're like, you just have a nice gentle wind. But
Hurricanes, like you got a couple days to get out of the way. We got satellites now,
yeah,
so
we do, or the eye of the storm. Yes, but it's like, you know, COVID and
yes.
2008, and now crisis of what we're seeing presidentially. All of these are the shakeups. And it's like, don't get caught up in that hurricane. That is part of the universe shaking the world up in order for
Mhm.
things to change up. So look at it optimistically as while that crap is going on, it means that the people that truly are living in heart, soul, and spirit are rising. And what we're
Yeah.
going to see is a more of that conscious conducting of business in the future, where it does come from the heart, the soul, and the spirit, where it is there to be of service to one another and not self-serving. So this is just the tide changing. Don't get caught up in the storm out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things that encourages me at a broader scale, because back when I was in the brokerage world, especially because I focused on retail assets, it was very much like getting in the consumer mind. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is a good fast food corner, doesn't mean it's good for every fast food. Or
Right.
like, you know, hey, is it on the morning side? Like right
Uh-huh.
before an on ramp? Well, that's a great place for a Starbucks.
Right.
And pizza, which is pick up on the way home for dinner,
Yes.
needs to be on the off ramp, getting,
Right.
going from the highway, right hand in, right
Exactly.
hand out to get, or for everyone else in the world who drives on the left, left,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
easy access without having to cut across traffic, right?
Exactly.
Um, and my ADHD dropped the dot, but I
So
know there was a big car.
just like it's again, that's kind of going with the flow. What position in life best serves you,
Mm-hmm.
right? What position have you put yourself in? Are you the Starbucks? Are you the pizza? Are you the
Yeah.
something else, right?
Oh, yes. And so because along the way I've always been fairly technologically connected,
Hmm.
um, one of the cool things to find um when I had my like awakening chapter, it was pretty easy to go online and find whether it was on Discord or Reddit or some of the other groups, just like be able to go find other practitioners where I
Mm.
could instantly talk in a safe space. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, like, what do you want to know? And um, so seeing that community grow and grow and grow, especially with the younger generations over the
Yeah.
last few years, super encouraging to see that like it's becoming so normalized now. Like
Hmm.
for me, if a kid pulled out a tarot deck in school, it would be like, oh my gosh, what is that weird? Like who knows what it would. But nowadays it'd be like, okay, so
Well, that's why I was so strange because, I was the gypsy reader,
mm-hmm,
or I could read without, the cards or anything, or come across until something that somebody
right.
needed to know. And it's like, who is this freak? Until they
Mm-hmm.
needed something, right? So grew up that way. And I'm
Yep.
now very grateful I grew up that way, but it was damn hard in the beginning because
Oh,
there
sure.
was none of this. They were called granola people or hippie, and I grew up in
Mm-hmm.
the hippie generation. So, but now it's what I've seen. It's been the undercurrent for so long that now is gathering its waves and really becoming a tsunami. And
Yeah.
it's kind of wash away all that negative greed, opulence, entitlement, and everything else, and step it into harmony, peace. And if we want peace, we've got to become the peace. If we want love, we've got to become the love. If we want respect, we've got to become respectful. So it all
Yes.
starts with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being it, not
Absolutely.
just doing
Being
it, being it.
Yes, being it. And doing the verbs that reflect it, not just thinking it in your head, doing the
Right.
verbs that show it.
So people want to reach out to you. I know you're not on any of the social medias. You just have a site,
Yes. Instigatingchange.com.
right?
I'm a big old instigator of change. So yeah, when I saw that was a bill, I was like, okay, I gotta take that.
Yes.
And you'll see a little bit about me, but if you watch this, you probably learned a lot more about me than
Yeah.
that. And there's a link, calendar button down at the bottom, and you can get a hold of me if you have questions or, you know, interested in finding out more about, how I work with people and how that might look. Yeah, absolutely. Reach out and you can get a hold of me there.
Right. So to know more about what she does, this is just kind of about him, and then you reach out, then you meet with Matt. And this is kind of where you're making people kind of commit, because if they're reaching out, that means they're
Yeah,
willing to do something, right? So
absolutely.
so they
Yeah,
reach out, they've got a calendar, they can tap in and then have that conversation with you and then take it from there. But again, folks, he has the skill, he has the tools, he has the heart and the soul and the spirit to help you, but you've got to be open to receive and open to apply. Apply,
yes,
right?
absolutely. It is a big challenge to step up and go, hey, I'm gonna tackle like 12 or 15 things in my life all at once in the
Right.
beginning. But I promise to make them very manageable steps that you can handle.
I always say that, one drop in the bucket, adds
Hmm.
up. And it's like, one little action, and then your whole psyche, everything likes that action. And then it wants to do
Oh,
it more
for sure.
often and then more often. The next thing you know, oh my God, I'm doing this all the time. And I didn't even
Uh-huh.
prompt myself, right? And that's the way to integrate it, because it's more gentle than kind of, harsh, cut it off and start again, because not everybody can cope with that.
Yeah, no. It's the harsh cutoff and stops. Like, no, like you can have a bad week, but that's a lot different than a harsh cutoff.
Yes. Yeah. And
You know,
the
we're
other thing is,
the needle like 1 or 2% at a time,
yes, yes,
and it's
yes,
a lot easier to trust that process. Like because I'm following up, 5 days a week
exactly.
plus the weekly follow up. Like,
You're following up and they're holding themselves accountable and then
yeah,
paying attention. How do
and
I
that,
feel in these things, and how is it working? And if I'm ignoring it, what happens? When I do it, what happens? It's
yes,
paying attention. And when you pay attention to something, then you actually kind of say, well, this is actually working, that ain't. And so,
hmm,
that's when you change the habits, right? That's when you
yes,
become the change you seek. You've got to look at what's not working for you and what is working for you. So step by step, cha cha
step
cha,
by step.
right? So
Yep, and whether it's accountability from someone else or hey, like everyone out there, I want a better life for you, for yourself.
mhm.
Like, figure out, at least figure out a way to start tracking something.
Exactly.
And that
Exactly.
that seed, if you let it and you nurture it, it will grow every
Right.
time, I promise.
Instigating change. We
Yep.
all need to change in our lives. Never ever designed to stay as one and never move forward. It is again about the flow, and it ain't over until we leave our bodies. We're here traveling in this vessel. Let's give our spirit a wonderful journey. It can give
Yes.
our body a wonderful journey through its experience. So let's merge together and embrace this beautiful divine energy and see what gift it wakes up inside of you, exactly.
Yes.
And just be willing to take the journey. No dictation, no obligation, no, that just presence, being present, and absorbing the moment, letting those moments build upon each other. It just really is wonderful. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing here today.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And, keep on beautifully flowing and integrating and changing people's lives. We need people to change in order for the planet to survive, in order for us to survive as human beings. We need to change. And that change is a big, huge invitation from the universe right now. And
Mhm.
it's saying, come on, wake up,
Oh,
step
yeah.
up, change up. And it's given people like yourself, it woke you up so that you could help others wake up and find
Mhm.
out what their gift is, right? So
Oh, absolutely.
so let's keep
Absolutely.
that gift on growing and sharing, and let us be the solution for this planet and not the problem.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thanks so much, Matt, and
Thank you.
keep on thriving and
I will.
flowing.
You.
And to everyone
Keep
else out there,
flowing.
please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to open this door. Don't be afraid to take the first step. Just try these
Yeah.
simple measures, right? Look at it as just a de-stressor, right? Putting you back on the right equilibrium. You never
Mhm.
know what is going to awaken inside of you, but don't be afraid of that, all right? Don't be afraid. It's not dangerous. It's actually
No,
beautiful. It's
it
wonderment, and you
is.
are worth it. And there is so much more to you than dealing with what you're dealing with today. So be willing to take the journey. Matt is there for you. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.
Find your path with the knowledge of others.